Hello everyone and welcome aboard. This morning we got the sad news that the cargo ship DALI crashed into the Francis Scott Bridge in Baltimore, Maryland. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the raw live stream to get an idea of what may have happened before it collided with the bridge at 1:30 a.m. local time. At the time of this video, there are people missing. My heart goes out to them and their families. This video is just to give a quick outsider's glimpse into what may have happened. There will no doubt be a long, lengthy, and in-depth investigation into what actually caused this collision coming out in the future. Now, I am a small boat captain, and when I say small boats, I'm referring to boats about 100 feet. So some of the same principles apply. However, if you'd like to get someone's take who's more knowledgeable on the large shipping industry than I am, I recommend that you check out What is Going On with Shipping right here. It's an excellent page, and they do a really good job at describing the events of this morning. Now let's start with the actual footage of what happened this morning. This clip is sped up as well as zoomed in. I apologize for the quality, but I do think it gives you a better view of what happened during this collision. You can see here the power on the vessel goes out, and it does appear to still be pointing in a somewhat okay direction to make it under the bridge. The power appears to come back on here. I like to pause because it's possible that this power may be emergency power or it may be the vessel's actual propulsion power. But what you can see, which makes me think it's the actual propulsion power of the vessel and its main power, is that there is a smoke cloud here, an exhaust cloud, coming out of the exhaust port of the vessel up at the top. Now, this video moves quick, but you can see the vessel is starting to turn towards the support of the bridge, and as it gets closer, it continues its turn. Now, there are a couple things happening here where we see this big exhaust plume coming off the ship. One is that its engine is damaged, which is why it is unable to properly maneuver and why the power went out. Two, it could be in full reverse trying to stop. And three, they could be trying to power forward to regain some maneuverability. Now, something to keep in mind here, which even applies to smaller vessels, is that they're very difficult to stop, and they're also very difficult to get back under control once you lose control. So, as this exhaust plume and the power comes back on and fires back up, if the vessel is going full reverse, that can actually torque the vessel in a direction that it may not want to go while it's attempting to stop. These vessels take very long distances to stop, so once they are off their track of going under the bridge, it can be very difficult to get them back on that track. Even steering forward, the vessels don't actually turn as much as they slide through the water, so if they were to just go forward and make a turn to port to try to get back on track, their stern could swing out and still clip that bridge. So you can see here, as it's powering, whether it's in forward or reverse, it doesn't have the ability to properly correct its course. And as it approaches the bridge here, you can see the power go out again, and also the vessel turn completely almost towards that support. If we jump over to marine traffic here, you can see the course of the DALI from when it leaves the dock. You can also see its speed based off this color here. Where it is red, it is slowest, and then as it picks up speed, it becomes yellow until finally becoming red again here at the end, where it hits the bridge. Through this process and this turn, the vessel did have tugs helping it on its way. Once it got into the channel and up to speed, the tugs pulled off. Now the reason for this is because vessels have very difficulty maneuvering when at slow speeds. And to show you briefly why this is, if we take a look at a rudder here, this rudder, while simple, is only able to steer a vessel when there's water flowing by it. So the slower the vessel is moving, the less water that flows by the rudder makes it more difficult to steer and control. This is a term called bare steerageway, which means the minimum speed a vessel can maneuver under its own power and still maintain control. The vessel DALI left the dock here in Baltimore on its way to a place called LKCMB. And if you weren't quite sure what that is, I'll tell you because I didn't know either. It's Colombo in Sri Lanka, which makes sense as to why it says it's going to take them almost a month to get there. Now, as the vessel DALI leaves, you can see right here where it starts to turn, which corresponds to the part in the video where it initially loses power right here. One thing I would like to point out is as it is approaching the support pillar, it does appear right here to still be turning towards it. However, right about here, you could see if you look at both the port and the starboard side of the vessel, this one being port, this one being starboard, that it doesn't appear to turn anymore before it starts heading towards that support pylon. In fact, if you look closely right there, right before it makes contact, it actually appears to move towards its port. Now, that could be because it hit something in the water, right below the pillar, maybe some support system down here at the actual surface of the water, or it could be due to the fact that it dropped its anchor. If we look at photos of the DALI underneath the bridge here after it collapsed, you can see, if you look closely, this anchor chain coming down and actually towards the stern of the vessel, so it does stand to some reason that it could have dropped its anchor right before. However, it's difficult to say whether an anchor like this with a vessel this heavy would turn the vessel this much. Now, if they regained some control of the vessel and they did that along with its rudder, it's possible maybe that's how the vessel turned this much. I also think it's possible that maybe it hit a shallow area of sediment underneath the bridge. It is hard to tell, but that is what the investigation will come to show. After it makes contact with the bridge, the entire bridge quickly collapses, as you see here in the zoomed out raw footage. An accident that we hope to never see again. If you enjoyed this video, thank you for your support, and smooth sailing.